Human sacrifice in ancient Egypt was practiced as part of the funerary rituals associated with all the pharaohs of the first dynasty. It is clearly demonstrated as existing during this dynasty by retainers being buried near each pharaoh's tomb, as well as animals sacrificed for the burial. The tomb of Jer is associated with the burials of 338 individuals. The people and animals sacrificed, such as donkeys, were expected to assist the pharaoh in the afterlife. For unknown reasons, this practice ended with the conclusion of the dynasty. So only first dynasty of ancient Egypt actually practiced human sacrifices, then it completely ended. And according to historian and linguist Christopher Herrett, the ritual practice of retainer sacrifice originated from the southern region in the Middle Nile. Ehret also stated that this cultural practice was shared with the Kerma kingdom of the upper Nubian Nile region. So probably from this kingdom it came and then it completely disappeared after the first dynasty. We don't know what happened or how the dynasty actually completely ended and went to second dynasty. Palermo stone is interesting because it's one of 7 surviving fragments of a stele known as the Royal Annals of the Old Kingdom of Ancient Egypt, and the stele contained a list of the kings of Egypt from the first dynasty, circa 3150 to 2890 BCE, through to the early part of the 5th dynasty, circa 2392 to 2283 BCE, and noted significant events in each year of their reigns. It was probably made during the 5th dynasty, this Palermo stone, and is held in the Regional Archaeological Museum Antonio Salinas in the city of Palermo, Italy, from which it derives its name. So Palermo stone is sometimes applied to all 7 surviving fragments of the Royal Annals, including those held in museums in Cairo and London, and the fragments are also sometimes described collectively as the Cairo Annal stone, although the term Cairo stone is also used to mean only those fragments of the Royal Annals and now in Cairo. The Palermo stone and other fragments of the Royal Annals preserve what is probably the oldest historical text that has survived from ancient Egypt and form a key source for Egyptian history in the Old Kingdom. So very important fragment because we know from Palermo stone all these pharaohs of the first dynasty until the 5th dynasty. So we know actually some chronology and how it was. And it forms actually really important part. It is basically just quite small. Height is 43 centimeters. The width is 25 centimeters. It was discovered in 1859 or before, and presently it's in Palermo, Sicily, Italy. What is actually interesting about pharaohs, which will be the next video, of the first dynasty or any other dynasties, is that it exists the name or term Nebti name. The Nebti name, also called two ladies' name, was one of the great 5 names used by Egyptian pharaohs. It was also one of the oldest royal titles. The modern term, two ladies' name, it's a modern term, is simply derivation from the translation of the Egyptian word Nepti. The terms Nepti name or two ladies' name derive from the Egyptian word Nepti, which is a dual noun meaning the two ladies, Nepti. As a mere noun, it is a religious euphemism designating the goddesses Negbet and Wadjet as a deified pair. As a royal crest, it was thought to represent a unified Egypt. So when the pharaoh had all these 5 great names and Nepti name, it means that it was actually representation of a unified Egypt. So the goddesses Negbet and also Wadjet, and when the pharaoh had all these signs and names in the name, it means that it was this Nepti, full Nepti name of the pharaoh. I think from Jet or from then they use it all the time, but not the first pharaoh or second pharaoh. They still didn't use it. This is basically interesting about this period, first dynasty.